Hello?
Can you hear me, please?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay.
Okay, I said before, this is Sethoo speaking.
Yeah, I know. I've recognized.
You've recognized. Okay. And I asked you before it cut off that, is it possible for me to record the conversation, whatever we speak about, so I can let people understand or hear what you said?
Oh, sure. Don't worry. You can record.
I can record and I will post it on Facebook for people to hear your side of the story. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay. I am calling you based on the debate you had. Do you understand Chi?
No, I speak Ga in the Hausa.
You speak Ga?
My Chi is not that good.
Okay, but so you can understand, but maybe you cannot speak back, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I speak, but it's not that clear.
It's not that clear.
Fluent in Chi.
It's okay.
If you speak Ga, we can speak Ga.
No, I don't. Unfortunately.
Okay. Then we can speak English.
I'm one of the Ghanaians who only speak one Ghanaian language. That is very cool.
Oh, okay.
That is very sad.
Okay.
Yes.
That's cool.
Okay. So I was calling you about the debate you had with Baba Shuaib.
Okay.
And then I am a Christian. First of all, let me introduce myself to you. Maybe you don't know me. I am a Christian. And I don't believe in Quran. I don't believe in Islam. But as I can see, you both do. But I have some questions and some things that you said in the debate. I want some clarification. That is why I was calling you to get some clarification.
No problem.
In the debate, you were asking Baba Shuaib to read the hadith in Arabic. And you were consistent with that. You wanted him to read in Arabic. Is it something you need to know to be a Muslim? You need to know Arabic. Is it something you need to know?
No, you don't need Arabic to be a Muslim. But you need the original text, which is the Arabic, to represent academia as an academic. When you claim, for example, if you have studied law in Ghana, you can't claim to be an academia in law whereby you can't communicate in English or you can't read English. Then it becomes impossible how you become an academia in law.
Okay. So
the first thing for people to even enter the law school or even enter into the university in the first place is your ability to read English and understand. That's comprehension and composition.
Okay.
Yeah. So the same thing, if we have an original text, which the original language of an academic field is not missing, and someone claims to argue in that field and boast of knowledge in that field, it means the person should have the knowledge of that language, should be capable of composition and comprehension.
Okay. Can anyone at all translate anything from the Quran?
Anyone at all?
Yes.
I don't understand anyone at all.
I mean, even the knowledgeable people, like somebody like you, I assume you are knowledgeable, right?
I'm a student. I'm in the field of study, so.
Okay, so when you translate the Quran to me, let's say I am a layman, somebody who doesn't speak Arabic, doesn't understand anything Arabic, and I depend on your translation. How sure can I depend on your translation?
You can't be too sure until it is certified by other people in the same circumference, in the same community, in the same academic community. So, for example, if I've written you a letter in a language, let's say in the Ga language, but what you can see in the letter is the $sign, which you understand that, okay, there's a $sign. But you don't really get what has been written because it's in a language you don't understand. You look for someone and it's a letter. Now there's $sign too there. What do you do? Tell me what you're going to do.
Now, I will let somebody to read it and explain to me why the $sign there is there, or maybe give me.
Good. Imagine the person is reading it to you, and the person is telling you that the person is telling you that money has been sent to you in this account, and then you should take 50% of the money and give 50% to him, the one reading it to you. What would you do next?
Now I would try to find somebody else to confirm what he's saying. Maybe
exactly. So you can't be satisfied if you yourself don't understand a certain language until you have different people confirming what you have actually heard from the primary source or the first source.
That is a very good answer that you have given me to me right now. So what if now
Thank you very much.
you give me an answer, okay? And I have doubts about what you are saying. And then I know that there are some Islamic scholars or Islamic books out there which the non-speaking Muslims also depends on. Right?
Okay, so this is the difference. We have Islamic scholars. I don't know, the English language scholar sometimes is manipulative. So we normally use the word knowledgeable people.
Okay.
You understand? Knowledgeable in Arabic is called like alim, ulama, knowledgeable people. Because I don't know, the word scholar is being sometimes played with. You understand? So if you ask, there are the people Allah said we should ask. فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Ask those who are well inclined with the knowledge if you don't know. So meaning if you don't know something, you ask those who know. Unfortunately, people misinterpret and misconcept people who are preachers, Muslim preachers, or how do you call them? Propagators, to be scholars. You understand?
Okay.
So someone want to know about something, and then the person go to YouTube or something, and then just type something, anything that comes from anyone. They cannot differentiate between a scholar and a preacher. People think it's the same thing. Like, excuse me to say this, like the Christian fraternity, where some people will just choose some Bible. You know, in the Christian fraternity, we have the theologians.
Yes.
The Christian theologians, the knowledgeable ones themselves. And then we have like preachers, pastors.
Not
all pastors are theologians, and not all theologians are pastors.
Okay.
You understand? So that sometimes is the difference. Not every preacher is a scholar. Usually the scholars, they are actually calm and like they shy off in a way because busy with academic works, busy with their students, busy with here and there. So usually they are not out there like that. And let me say, when it comes to this social media and this media thing, one scholar recently died, I think in the States or so, and one of the brothers clearly said that unfortunately he doesn't have any recording on, how do you call it, modern technology. I think he himself intentionally did that because some of our scholars, they are even scared that people will hear of them for them to be popular. So they keep themselves we always refer to ourselves as students. So it's like you don't finish learning until it becomes necessarily for you to speak out there, for you to speak publicly. And when you start to speak publicly to probably then that will bring that kind of popularity or something like that. So for me, for example, myself as a student, I was very worried about me giving out my number there, even showing my face in the first day. I was actually not pushed by anyone, but with what things that are going on, since I can communicate in English and people understand English, and I have the Arabic background and I have the Islamic law background and all these backgrounds, I feel it becomes necessary for me to speak. If not, it's somehow difficult because it's like you've not finished preparing. Imagine right now your number is out there and then you become known by many people calling you left, right, center, asking questions, inviting you here. Just imagine that. I'm a master's student, a law student, MPhil to be precise, in research, MPhil to be precise, and then law. Even law alone, I believe you know what academic is. So law alone, definitely is not easy, right?
Yes. Yeah,
so combining it with this, imagine how difficult it will be. So until you finish, the person finish and be like, okay, I'm a bit cool now. That's when the person will start maybe to try to contribute to society and all that. So in the end, I'm trying to say that people confuse preachers, people who have, let me say, some knowledge, basic knowledge, and they want to propagate Islam with it. We call them preachers, and then some people, the scholars themselves, they are there.
Okay, so just like you just said about the scholar who has passed away in USA, and then he never published anything on social media or publicly, right?
Yeah, social media. Yeah.
So let's say he wrote some things down in a book, and then now after he's gone, maybe somebody is able to bring out what he wrote down, and then let's say it is in English, or it is, since he's in the USA, it could be in English too. Are we allowed?
He speaks Arabic and English.
Yeah, he speaks Arabic and in English, and then maybe he has just left some of the fatwa in English. can we depend on that, whatever he wrote, as a credit source?
So the thing is, if he's been regarded as a scholar, and how would you know if someone is regarded as a scholar? I did a video on that, translating one of.
No, you just confirm. You just say, I'm just asking you about the one you just said he's a scholar.
There. So for you to take that source, you need to, first of all, who is the one taking the source? Who is the one taking the person's work? Is the person also in the field of, is the person academic? Is the person related to that field? If the person is related to that field, then the person then can take it and use it. But if not, if the person is not a scholar, then the person, or is as a scholar, if the person doesn't belong to that field of study, then that person has no business with that. That person needs to just ask his local imam about his problems, and then if the answers are given to him, and then that is it. Because the imam is made the imam because the community believes he knows.
No, but
it happens to be that he doesn't know, then that's unfortunate.
Siddik, are you called Siddik, or how do you pronounce your name?
Siddik.
Siddik.
Yeah.
And when some people say Siddik, is it the same?
Siddik means like a friend, like Sadiq, like friend, and Siddiq means like truthful.
Oh, so they're two completely different names.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's all from the same root word, but it will mean different. It means differently in a way.
Oh, okay. Siddik. Okay, I'll try to say it correctly. Siddik.
Yeah.
But what I was trying to accomplish or to get from you is, since you are somebody who knows the Arabic, and then let's say I have a conversation with you, and then you are giving me your understanding, or you are trying to explain something to me in English, right? And I am not like trusting you. I'm not believing what you are saying. I want to confirm it with somebody else. Now you just gave me this scholar who is in the USA. You called him a scholar, right? And then you said he's in the USA.
No, so, that's what the testimony of the brothers there. I'm relying on the testimony of the brothers.
So you cannot confirm that he was a scholar?
Of knowledge there.
So can you confirm that?
You get my point?
Yeah, I get your point, but so you don't even know if he was a scholar. You were just depending on what they told you.
Yes, I'm depending on the narration of the students, because usually students have teachers, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so the students are saying that like our teacher.
So, but that would mean the one that you can consider to be the scholar, okay, is not a scholar to somebody else, right? Because everybody has his own teachers that they follow.
No. A scholar is a scholar. A scholar is a scholar. I'm saying that the scholar has students, so it's the student that can bear witness that this one was a scholar, depending on the field. The field doesn't. I said depending on the field, meaning depend on who and what they are learning from. It doesn't mean he's not a scholar, but
Hello?
Yeah, hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's back. I can hear you now.
Okay. So I'm saying that if the person, let's say, is a scholar in the field of, let's say, law, he teaches law, let's say Islamic law, right? And the person then attempts to talk about maybe Islamic banking and finance, which that is not his field. His statement in the field of banking and finance should not be taken accurately, should not be taken scholarly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, let me just move on. But right now, if I ask you something about the Quran, right, I will be depending on the English translation. You know, there are a lot of people who have converted to Islam who doesn't speak Arabic, and the only reason why they accepted Islam is they read the English book, English translations, and to their understanding, they came to the truth. So we cannot discredit the English translation when it comes to critical questioning, and then some people want to deny or to like say, no, you cannot ask these kind of questions unless you know the Arabic language. You understand what I mean?
So that's a fine assumption, but this is the thing. The person reading the English, if he then comes across someone who understands the English clearly and also understands the classical Arabic and the Arabic of the Quran. We have different types of Arabic. I'm speaking about the classical Arabic of the Quran.
Okay.
If the person knows that very well and knows the English very well, and the person has studied, the person is actually a scholar of the Quran, and you, the one bringing the translation, he's telling you that translation is inadequate, not incorrect, not inaccurate, inadequate, it's insufficient. You, the one who don't know what he knows, then don't have to argue with him. It's like someone who has come to Ghana, he knows about CDs, and then he comes, and then the one who is going to help him change the CDs is playing games with the CD. Let's say you knew that one CD is $1 is 6 CDs. You come and then it has increased. He can tell you why it has increased or decreased, and he can go details into it with you. You just came, you just arrived, you don't even know much about the CD. And this reflects in all fields of knowledge. You just have a gist. So let me give you one word. Let me give you a word for on what we are talking about. For example, in Arabic, and it implies in Ga as well, in Hausa, in every language. So let me use the Quran, for example. The Quran uses the word Rabb. I hope you've heard the word before.
Father or Lord? Lord?
Yeah, you see, people say Rabb, meaning Lord, right?
Yes.
So this Rabb is also used for humans in a different verse. Where Allah said, وَلَكِنْ كُونُوا رَبَّانِيِّينَ. Allah said, but they say, be Rabbaniyin, be lords. Now, it doesn't translate like that. So then the person takes you back to the meaning, the root word of Lord, and then try to explain different forms to you. You understand? But you will just see as Lord. So you go and see Rabba somewhere else, and then you think it's talking about lords. The person will say, no. Okay, so Rabba means someone who controls something, someone who molds something. It can also mean someone who nourishes something. It can also mean you see, it can mean a lot of things. So this is what your understanding, the one who translated this may be limited in that, or maybe due to the person, translation is just giving a gist. What is your local language, Mr. Sethoo?
Ashanti or Tree.
Okay, you for me, I'm a Ga, and I actually studied Ga.
Okay.
I studied Ga. So, in Tree, for example, imagine you have studied, maybe Tree literature. When I say tree literature, there are things you say in Tree which means a lot. When you are translating a book, you can't bring, the word has so many meanings, and it means so many things, not just the word keke, but it's putting it in the speech, it will mean a lot of things. Then me, the one who have not studied Tree, I'm just relying on someone's translating. I'm communicating to you, and you are telling me that no. Your translate just or you show word yes, the word can be correct and are not correct, but meaning ankasa mimi tree ankasa mimi tree ankasa mi tree ankasa. Imagine you saying that to the person is saying, but someone translated this to be this. Imagine how furious we are going to be with the person. And this person speaking to you is from England.
Okay.
You understand? Imagine how frustrated you're going to look at the person with. Like, what is this person talking about? You're talking about a language that I communicate in it, and I studied its literature and all that. And you have just taken someone's translation and you want to buttress it to your case with it. So that, I think, that is an analogy that goes into that. It's cut across every field.
So, okay. Siddik, so that would mean, according to what you are saying, Arabic language is something very important for you to really get the deep meaning of the Quran.
That's for someone who wants to go into the academia, like the knowledge aspect of Islam. Not someone who is a normal Muslim who wakes up and practices Islam and goes his way. He has a question or he has a problem. He comes to ask the one who knows. He say, okay, so please, I have an affair with my wife, or we have a misunderstanding. This is what happened. Please, what is the ruling? The person gives the person the ruling. He goes his way on. He's a banker. He wakes up in the morning. He goes to work. This is different from someone who actually want to now be arguing in the issues of religion. And you see, there are two different people here, right?
Okay.
Like the verse I quoted during the debate, the first verse I quoted, Allah said, وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَنْ يُجَادِلُ فِي اللَّهِ بِغَيْرِ عِلْمٍ وَلَا هُدًى وَلَا كِتَابٍ مُنِيرٍ. Among the humans are those who argue in the issues in the affairs of the Almighty without knowledge, without profound knowledge, and without guidance. No one guides. There's no guidance. They just take upon themselves some things upon themselves, and they're just spewing it out there. And Allah said, without any book of light. Okay. So there are people Allah, meaning Islam, criticizes people who try to argue in the affairs of religion, in the affairs of the Almighty, without profound knowledge.
Okay, Siddik, sorry.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What about the verse in the Quran where Allah says then we will get the message in our own language?
Okay, so I wish you can take the verse and then read it, not in English, not Arabic, yourself. Like, I want you to read the full verse and you see what Allah is talking about. So
okay.
If you have it, you can do that. But if not, I can narrate it to you.
No, I have it here. I
wanted you to just read it so that
I have it here. Okay. It says in Surah to Ibrahim, Quran chapter 14, verse number 4. It says, and we did not send any messenger except in the language of his people to state clearly for them. And Allah sends astray whom he wills and guides whom he wills. And he exalted in might the wise. So I just read it to you, and then there were some things in brackets.
Hold on a bit for me.
Okay.
So in the Arabic, Allah said wama, and you read it in English, and that is correct. That is, we did not. Now, did not is in the past, right?
Yes.
Meaning all messengers that had been sent to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they were sent in the language of their people. Do you get that?
No, but you see, this verse, who is reporting this verse to us? Prophet Muhammad. So he's included, right? Because it is not like a future tense.
No, so this is an admonishment. No, I'm not going to exclude him. So you you have a little patience, okay?
Okay.
So the Arabs, the Prophet was talking to them in the clear Arabic tongue, right? And they normally argue with the Prophet that it was a Jew guy that was teaching him.
Okay.
Right? And the Prophet was sent to a generation that during that time, even Africans dwelling there were speaking clear Arabic. Okay, so Allah was telling them that if in a different verse, Allah said, you are saying that someone is teaching him, this person is an Ajami, meaning non-Arab speaker. Non-Arab speaker. And the Prophet is speaking clear Arabic. And Allah, in the verse you just read in Surah Ibrahim, Allah is saying that we do not send a messenger to a group of people except that he is speaking in their own tongue, the language they understand. You understand? So, meaning that the Prophet coming to you speaking in your own language, the language you understand, the language you can clearly hear. He's not speaking Ajami, he's not speaking non-Arabic. He's speaking a language you will understand. Now, then someone will ask, okay, so then if you are a Ghanaian, then the language of your religion should be in Ghana. We say the Prophet ﷺ, this generation is the generation, we call it Ummatu Muhammad. Now, I'm not talking about the perspective of a Christian or we Muslims, this is our teaching.
Okay.
The Prophet ﷺ was sent to the entire mankind. So this means that if someone wants to actually understand this religion, his language then becomes his first language then becomes the Arabic language. Now I'm saying the first language, meaning that even if he grows up with, let's say, Hausa language, that is cultural language, where he was raised. If he embraces Islam, his religious language, the first religious language should be the Arabic language. Someone will say, okay, then that you are like is the Arab slavery and whatever. We say no. Do you know that the Prophet ﷺ himself is not an original Arab? So then we go into the issue, who is an Arab then? Arab, the language, the word itself means eloquence.
Arab means eloquence?
Eloquence, yes. That's literally meaning of Arab.
Okay.
Yes, it also means to define something into eloquence, to say something into eloquence. So when we say someone is Arab, we are saying that the person is eloquent. So meaning the person is not speaking gibberish. The person is actually speaking clearly. So again, that language in which the Quran was sent, the Prophet ﷺ, his origin doesn't even belong there because his grandmother came from Africa. That's Hagar. And his grandfather, Ishmael, is coming from Mesopotamia. So, you see, then when he was born among the people and they continued to grow like generation after generation, that language became their language. It means that his generation adapted a language, and we all adapt a language one way or the other. In religious terms, Islamic religious terms, we say that if someone really wants to understand Islam, then the person needs to speak the language of that religion in which the revelation was sent. So when we say generation 2, we are talking about the generation of Muhammad. What is the generation of Muhammad? Is it the Arabs or the non-Arabs? No. Allah said, we sent you as a messenger. We send you but a messenger for all mankind. So we are all included. I hope you get my point.
I get what you are trying to say here, okay? But the statement here is from Allah, who is the Almighty God, according to the Quran or according to Muslims, right? And Allah has made this statement is actually one of, to me, it's one of the beautiful statements in the Quran, because as you just said, you study Ghana, you are a Ghanaian, right? You are already a Ghanaian. I am a Ghanaian, but we don't have the same languages, so it will be very difficult for you to come and say something to me in a language which I don't understand, right? So according to the statement here, Allah did exactly what is supposed to be done. He is giving the message in the language so that the people may understand the clear message, right? So Allah just gave it in the language because according to Quran chapter 30, verse number 21 or 22, right? It states that Allah is the one who created diversity languages. Allah gave us these languages. So it is a sign from Allah. Allah has given us different languages, and which is a beautiful thing. That is a sign from Allah.
Okay, so if you understand me, we have cultural languages. Every tribe has. Even the people dwelling in Mecca and Medina and Qatar and Dubai, they all have their cultural languages. Here we're talking about religious language here. So that what you are saying is perfect. Allah gave us languages. Again, I want to take you back because to shift a bit. You are like where you are taking me to make the thing shift a bit. So let me take it back.
Okay.
You see, Allah was talking about messengers sent. Now, I believe that you know that Muslims believe that Prophet Muhammad, according to the Quran, is a seal of messengers.
It's the seal of the Prophet. Yeah, I heard of that.
Exactly. So, if it's the seal of messengers, meaning if Allah is saying that every generation we sent a messenger, and we believe that there's no messenger after him, that's why I'm saying that. So it means that this generation is the message that came to us, came through the Prophet, peace be upon him, in a certain language. Not in the Prophet's parents' original language, right?
What do you think Prophet Muhammad's original language is?
He happens to be among the people of that language at that time. And Allah decided to send, Allah could have sent it in any language, and that would be the universal religious language of that people. So he decided to choose the Prophet from the people of Mecca, which Allah mentioned in himself, that الَّذِينَ يَتَّبِعُونَ الرَّسُولَ النَّبِيَّ الْأُمِّيَّ. Those who follow the messenger, al-Rasul, al-Nabi, they follow the Prophet, the same person, al-Ummi, the one who is coming from the people of Mecca. The people of Mecca, they were called Ummiyun because they literally don't write nor read. They memorize things. Their knowledge is, they say that is our knowledge is in our hearts. They memorize things. They don't usually, so they were called Ummiyun. And they were also called Ummiyun because they call Makkah Ummul Qura, meaning mother of the cities. So anyways, so Allah is saying that he chose that prophet. He gave him that revelation in that language. And he is a seal of the messenger. So no messenger again will come after him. No messenger will come after him. So that is our language. That's our religious language.
Can I say something here?
Sure.
My understanding of Ummiyun, or the word that you just used, according to my understanding, it doesn't mean the people of Mecca couldn't read or write, but it only means they didn't have any.
No, they couldn't. They are not known for that.
They are not. But in the Quran, you see, the Quran says, if you want to borrow, there is a verse in the Quran, Surah Al-Baqarah, that they should write down. They should write down if you want to borrow something, you want to a witness, you should write the amount down. So they were used to writing, right? The writing is there because Quran even tells them to write it down.
No. So remember again, the Quran is not for the Arabs. At that time, that verse you mentioned in Surah Al-Baqarah was revealed in Medina. In Medina, there were a lot of deals with the Jews. And so the Jews are known for that. And that's why they were called Ahlul Kitab. Kitab is from the word kataba, meaning writing, those who have the scriptures. So in dealing with them, there were people among the people of Khazraj and the other tribes in Medina who are also educated. That's why I'm saying that the people of Mecca, and I didn't say Medina, people of Mecca. So people of Medina, there were people among them. It was even called Yathrib, because it's a city of business and all that. So there were people there who are known for writing. I hope that you get that clear.
Okay, I take your explanation. I'm not gonna disagree or disagree with you too much. Okay, because
sure. It's a conversation.
It's a conversation, and it's not a debate. I'm not here to debate you.
Sure.
It's not a debate. That's why I'm just gonna let you speak whatever you want to tell us, so that people may judge for themselves too. Okay, but still, the word.
I want to pray you. I just want to pray you one thing, that this conversation shouldn't be edited in any way.
No. And I promise you that right after the conversation, I am going to send you the audio. Right after the conversation, that will be like immediately I hang up the phone. I will try to send you the conversation, so there will be no time for me to do any editing. And then when I post it on the screen, when I post it, everybody is gonna get it. And I will try my best to let the people know at what minute are we stopping. You see? So if we speak like 1 hour, I will say, okay, right now it is 1 hour 2 minutes. So when I post it, everybody will get the time to see that, okay, it is exactly 1 hour 2 minutes. And then there can be no manipulation in between or something like this.
Sure.
Okay, but
that's one thing I'm scared about on social media.
Yeah, I get it. I know. Some people can take your conversation, edit it, and make it look like something it doesn't. You didn't even say.
Exactly.
I get the point. I know that. So what I understand about the Umayyin is about the people who don't have the book. People who didn't have the book, which means they didn't have any religious background. They didn't know. They don't have a book, and they were called Umayyin. That is what my understanding of the word Umayyin is. They are illiterate about God.
You will not be wrong. So that's what I'm saying about Quran literacy and how do you call it, comprehension. So you will not be wrong if you are to say that, because they are not known for reading nor writing. So you see, if you say they don't have a book, someone who is not known for reading and writing, that's the people of Makkah. How then do you call them? How if they have a scripture, they would have been reading.
No, the book meaning they don't have scriptures from God. But that doesn't mean they don't have any book that they are reading or writing. No. But they are illiterate about God. They are illiterate about God. That's what I understand about the Umayyin.
If they have a book from Allah, if they have a divine revelation they are reading,
yes,
then it's the same thing. They wouldn't be called Umayyun in the first place.
Yes.
But there are different reasons, which I give you some of them. The reason why the people of Makkah were called Umayyun. And is from the word mother.
Mm-hmm.
That's the root word. Mean mother. Now they were called Ummiyun. Someone from Makkah is called Ummi, for example, because the Kaaba itself, Makkah itself at that time, or Bakka, it was known to be Ummul Qura. Ummul Qura is like a center for cities. You get the point?
I hear you.
So someone from there is also called Ummi. Some people also say it's Ummi. When they call you Ummi, someone calls you Ummi, it means the way you came out from your mother's womb without reading nor writing, you are the same person. So, like, you are from the original source. So, Ummi, the Yai at the end is called Yai Nisbi, meaning attributing you to something. Mm. So, attributing you to your original source. You came out from your mother, no reading, no writing.
Okay.
Also, it can mean all that. There are discussions on that. The reason why.
Because I think
people were called Miyun.
It is very interesting because as long as I can say, I have learned from the Muslim that Prophet Muhammad used to be a tradesman. He used to be a trader who used to work for Khadija. He used to travel around and then he used to work for Khadija. So there is and he wasn't bad at his work. So there is something. He has to be reading and writing. There is something. He has to have knowledge for you to be a good trader. But that is a different topic. Okay. Let me
just make a sharp comment on that. Now, some people make this argument just to drive it to the extent to say that Muhammad wrote the Quran. Which, anyways, if he happens to be the one who wrote the Quran, that would be a different discussion then. But let's take that assumption and what you mentioned as an assumption that because he trades, he should know something about reading and writing. Mm-hmm. Let's bring it down to our common understanding, common perspective. Here in Ghana, there are a lot of big traders, big businessmen, and they can't read. When I say read, actually take a text and write nor read. They can't write nor read, but at least at least they may know something like their telephone number,
their
account numbers and all that, but they are not readers and they are not writers. They need someone to do that for them, and they are great. They are knowledgeable in their business. Knowledgeable, not someone who reads literacy. Someone I hear people saying that this is an educated illiterate. I said, sorry, sir, we don't have anything like an educated. They have a way of saying it, uneducated illiterate or something like that, or educated illiterate. People say that meaning the person has graduated from the university, but he doesn't know anything. I used to correct them that what you want to say is that the person is uneducated literate. Uneducated literate is someone who has gone to school but doesn't know anything. That's uneducated, but he's literate. Literate means he can read and write, but he doesn't understand even the things he reads and writes. You understand? He's uneducated, meaning he has no knowledge. Knowledge is the understanding of information. He doesn't understand anything, but he can read and write. So we have people like that. People can be educated, but illiterate. Illiterate means they can't read proficiently nor write proficiently.
Now,
so
okay, Siddik, let's just end this one here, okay? Because I haven't even asked you about the main reason why I called you here, about Prophet Muhammad being able to write or not being able to write. I saw you
because you bring a comment there. So since this is a record, I quickly have to.
You have to address it, yes.
That.
But because we have already spoken, let me say 36 minutes and some seconds, okay? And then I haven't even gone to the debate. That the reason why I haven't gone to that debate. But let me just say this one here. Let me just say this one statement, because I saw you have a program with Hafiz Buhari, Sheikh Hafiz Buhari, right? And Hafiz Buhari has even made a video about Prophet Muhammad being able to read and write, and he provided evidences or references from a hadith, which indicates that Prophet Muhammad...
Was it before Revelation or after Revelation?
That was after Revelation. After Revelation.
Yeah, so there's a discussion after Revelation, but the Quran referred to before Revelation.
And so before Revelation, Prophet Muhammad was not able to read and write, but after Revelation, then
he was unlettered, yes.
Okay, so at least now we have an understanding. So you are saying since Prophet Muhammad started receiving the revelation, he became knowledgeable to read and write. Is that what you're saying?
Now knowledgeable, the Prophet when you say knowledgeable, meaning understand, I'm repeating that again on a purpose. People can be knowledgeable, but they cannot read nor write. So the Prophet was knowledgeable about their culture. He was knowledgeable about his name. He was knowledgeable about business and all that, right? Mm-hmm. But reading and writing, he was not. He's never into that. Now after Revelation, was he writing adequately and can he read adequately? Then I said there's a discussion on that. There's a debate on that because during the Hudaybiyah, the Battle of Hudaybiyah,
exactly,
the battle that didn't happen, there was at a point where there was an argument between the companions and the people of Makkah, and then he asked them to bring the contract because they were trying to wipe off his name, and some of the companions said that Ali could write, so he was the one to represent as the secretary. He said no, he can't use his hand to claim the name of the Prophet ﷺ. So the Prophet said, they brought it to him and said, please, where is my name? So you see, if he could accurately read, if he can proficiently read, he should see it. He should have seen it. Right? But he was asking, please, where is it? And then they showed him, and then he cleansed it. And then he ordered that this should be written instead. In the other narrations, it is said that he wrote it. Now, he wrote it can also mean that he asked someone to write it and to be the same. I mean, that's why there's a discussion there. So he's not proficient when it comes to reading a text and writing it. That's what the Quran confirmed to us. You do not write with your right hand. When Arabic, they use the word right hand in doing something, usually it means like doing it proficiently.
No, okay. I will just leave it like that. People may judge for themselves. And exactly this battle of Ubediyah, or the one you just mentioned, Hudaybiyah, sorry, okay. That same...
the D comes before the B.
Hudaybiyah,
yeah.
Hudaybiyah, okay, right. I get the point. Yeah. That is the same battle, that is the same evidence.
Narration Hafiz quoted,
Hafiz quoted to make his point that the Prophet was able to read and write.
It was correct. Yeah, it was correct.
Okay, so now the Prophet can read and write. Okay. let me go.
I have explained that to you. So I'm saying that if he quoted the same incident, then he's writing the same incident.
Okay.
Depending on the discussion.
Okay. We see we have numerous evidences in the hadith, because you accept the hadith, right? There was one hadith when Prophet Muhammad was sick in his bed. He said that they should bring him something to write so that the people may not go astray. Have you heard of that hadith before?
And Sayyidina Umar said, Hasbuna kitab Allah. Sayyidina Umar said, the book of Allah is enough for us.
It's enough for us. So that was another indication that Prophet Muhammad was able to write. You see the point? And saying this,
so I've explained to you that you don't. That's why I call it discussion. When there's a language, some people can have an opinion. Where Muslims don't have disagreement is where it comes to theology. I believe you know theology, right? Creed.
Okay.
The creed, the fundamentals of the religion. Muslims don't have disagreement with that. But when it comes to branches, okay, branches like could the prophet write adequately after revelation, or he couldn't, and all that, there is a discussion and people hold different understandings. So, for example, if they say the president, Nana Akufo-Addo, wrote to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, so and so. Okay, someone who understands English literally will say that, okay, so Nana Akufo-Addo wrote to the Minister of Foreign Affairs, so he took the pen and he wrote himself.
Yeah.
But you, the one who understand beyond just literal English, you will understand that this is not even how presidency works. The presidency has a secretary. The prophet also has people we call kutab al-wahi, meaning writers of the revelation.
Okay.
So the prophet has secretaries who write. So we don't. That's why I said there's a discussion. So we see when there's a difference of opinions here, we don't insult each other or we don't accuse each other. We say you have an opinion when it comes to the literal understanding of it. I have the opinion also of how do you call it? How it can mean. And this doesn't call for alarm among Islamic students or Muslim scholars.
I like the point that you have just made, okay? Because the same thing happens to us as Christians too. There are some issues that maybe two Christians may disagree, but our main creed, okay, remains the same. Jesus died for our sins. He rose on the third day. He was crucified. For that one, everyone accepts.
I think yes, that's what makes one a Christian. If the person denies that, I don't think the person
is a Christian. Exactly, that is the point here. Okay, so maybe you can have disagreement about a passage in the Bible, and you have a different understanding, and I have a different understanding. But our main creed, which will be the resurrection and Jesus dying for us, that one everybody accept that way. Okay. But
exactly. So the minor ones shouldn't call for discrepancies and classifications and all that.
Okay, so now since I mentioned this hadith, and then you already know about the hadith where Prophet Muhammad was saying, let me write something for you so that you may not go astray. And then Umar said in that particular hadith, he said, the Quran, okay, and you have the Quran, but Umar didn't allow them to write it. He said, you have the Quran, and Allah's book is sufficient for us. Was Umar thinking, is Baba Shuaib thinking like Umar right here?
Is it thinking? No. So there's the thing. Is he thinking like Umar? No. Is he thinking like Umar? No, he is not thinking like Umar. No. First of all, Umar is a Muslim, so that's number one.
But the point here is Umar is saying, Baba Shuaib is saying the book of Allah is sufficient.
We are going to the thinking of Umar, so that's where we are going to.
But I'm not saying. But wait, let me clarify it clearly, okay? I'm not saying Baba Shuaib thinks exactly like Umar, but according to this statement, this particular statement, that the book
does it coincide with what Baba Shuaib is saying?
Yes, that Allah's book is sufficient. You see, Allah's book being sufficient. That's what I'm saying. I'm speaking about this specific statement that Umar made, that the book of Allah is sufficient.
I understood you perfectly. So,
okay.
You are saying that that particular statement coincides with what Baba Shuaib is saying today, right?
Yes.
Exactly. So I'm saying that no, it doesn't coincide. The reason is all Muslims say the same thing. Hasbuna kitab Allah, hasbuna Allah wa ni'mal wakeel. Right? Allah's book is enough for us. Every Muslim say that. And I asked in the debate, does any Muslim doubt in this kind of things? Does every Muslim doubt in the Quran being clear, the Quran being the guide and all that? But if you say only, that Sayyidina Umar in his statement, he didn't add Hasbuna kitab Allahi faqad or Hasbuna kitab Allahi faqad. He didn't add only to it. So that's the problem here. Do you get a point?
No.
Muslims don't say only. Now Baba Shuaib and his cohorts, they are adding only to that.
Mm.
And there is no verse to that effect.
Okay,
there is no verse to that effect. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentioned in the Quran, and we sent to you, Muhammad, the book and the hikmah. Allah said, we sent to you the book and we sent to you the hikmah. And that hikmah, Allah said, that it's been taught as well. Allah said, يُعَلِّمُهُمُ الْكِتَابَ. He teaches the book, wal hikmah, and the hikmah. So if the book is the Quran. Now, this is even simple, how do you call it? I would say logic, simple logic. Now, it's like saying that if you say the kitab is the Quran and the hikmah is the Quran, it's like Allah saying, and we send to you the Quran and the Quran, and you teach the Quran and the Quran. It's like I'm saying that Sethoo called me and Sethoo called me. Like,
but how about those who explain it? You see, the book is the book, but the wisdom is in the book. You get a point. You see, listen, like you said, the book is the Quran, right? You can read the Quran, but the wisdom is in the Quran. By reading it and applying it in a good way, then you gain the wisdom.
So let's agree. The wisdom is in the Quran. Now, who teaches you that is in the Quran?
And that is what Baba Shuaib is trying to say, that Allah teaches them. Allah is the teacher in the Quran, because He said He is the one.
No, we are not saying different thing. We are not saying different thing that Allah, the Prophet is teaching us on his own. Allah clarified that the Prophet is not teaching on his own. وَمَا يَنْطِقُ عَنِ الْهَوَىٰ إِنْ هُوَ إِلَّا وَحْيٌ يُوحَىٰ. It's not teaching on his own. He's not saying anything on his own. That's why we call it wahyi. They are revelation. We call everything the Prophet says, whether the Quran. Now, so what is the Quran? I asked Shuaib on the phone some time ago that what is the Quran? He said the recital, the book. Now I said no, technical definition. What if you say the book? The Christians also have the book. They have the book. Everyone has a book, right? So the book, Jewish, they can call something the book. Even on campus here, we have books. Oh, Sally, have you seen the book? So you have not defined the Quran if you say the book. If you say the recital, people have hymns, right?
Mm-hmm.
So define it technically. Then I tried to define it to him, and I told him that every word that is in the definition can be traced in the Quran. هو كتاب الله المنزل. It is the book of Allah that was revealed على نبيه محمد, until his messenger Muhammad, peace be upon him, المتعبد بتلاوته, that its recitation, it's been worshipped with. Meaning, if we are in salat, if we are praying, we don't recite hadith. And when we are standing in reciting the Quran, when you are standing, you recite Fatiha and Surah. Fatiha and Surah, they are from the Quran. So we worship Allah. And when you are sitting and you are reciting the Quran, how do you call it? You recite it in a certain way that you don't recite hadith in the same way. And then reciting the Quran is in a form of worshipping Allah. And the Prophet ﷺ said every letter of it has 10 blessings. And Allah knows what that 10 blessings is. Now, we don't say this hadith doesn't have the same value. And then we say to the Quran that لَفْظُهُ مِنَ اللَّهِ كَمَعْنَاهُ مِنَ اللَّهِ. Its wording, it's accurately from Allah, just like its meaning. What do we mean by that? So it means that if Allah is telling the Prophet, قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ, say He is Allah the one, the Prophet will not take away the say. He will put it there as accurately as the wording of Allah. Now, this is a divine one from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with what? Divine one with what? With the wording and the meaning. Now, what is the technical meaning of hadith then? Hadith is a revelation, wahyu min Allah, it's a revelation from Allah, but with, how do you call it? The wording of a human being, a messenger from Allah. Now, would you compare the wording of a human being who has been made a messenger with that which is like as accurate as the, how do you call it? The Almighty Himself said without any change of wording. Allah said it the way He wants, and it was recited the way it was. So indeed, the Quran is the best of hadith. And I asked the Muslims in the comment section, is there anyone who doubts in this? So this is the Muslim stance. Now, when it comes to the hadith, the Prophet is saying it. The Prophet saying that his sayings, which is not the Quran, which is also a revelation, like Allah mentioned, that He sent to him the book and then it hikmah. And then He said, وَيُعَلِّمُهُمُ الْكِتَابَ and وَالْحِكْمَةِ. That hikmah is being taught. It's something that is being taught, right? Now this is a love. The wording is from him. وَمَعْنَاهُ مِنَ اللَّهِ. But its meaning, what the Prophet is telling you, is a revelation from Allah. So for example, right now as I'm speaking to you, you see, if you read English to me, right? You say, oh, Allah said he did not send a messenger except to their people except in their own language or in their own language.
Yes.
What you said is called ma'ana. It's called meaning of what the text actually is. And that thing, the one you said, although it's from your mouth with that kind of wordings, but the meaning of what you are trying to tell me is from Allah, if it can be traced in the Quran. The meaning of what you are trying to tell, although you didn't use the same word, so your wording is not from Allah, but the meaning of what you use is from Allah. And this is what is called hadith. Now, all this while he himself, he doesn't, wallahi, I said he has not studied hadith. He has not studied the Quran. And I've proven it that even the text of the revelation, he can't even read it, because if he has studied, not even if he has studied, he has not studied. Had he studied it, he would know the technical meaning of hadith and the technical meaning of the Quran. And that is why we continue to say to them that, you see, because you don't know this too, if the moment you keep on rejecting hadith and deceiving people that you believe in the Quran, now I presented the Quran to you. I presented the Quran to you from Surah Al-Zukhruf. Because you don't know what the Quran is, you rejected it, thinking that it's a different thing. Had you known, had he known, he would know that the wording itself is the same thing. But I intentionally brought that in because I know he doesn't know. And then he rejected talking about Rush and House and saying that House is better. Now he's the one condemning someone, narrating hadith like Bukhari. He's now presenting someone to us called House, also narrating the Quran to us. Okay, so they are all narrated by human beings. Which if you claim there can be errors in the hadith, then since the same human beings are narrating the Quran to us, who told you that there can be errors? Who told you that they have not taken something out from it?
That is a very, very good point. You have made a point.
So
because
you think you are demolishing hadith.
Sure, listen to me, Siddik. To my understanding, Hafs also his hadith are not accepted, but his Quran is accepted. That is what I have heard. Okay.
Good. So imagine someone. Do you know why his hadith is not accepted?
They said he's a liar. He's a thief.
No, they didn't call him straight liar. Anyways,
they
called him Sariq. A thief, but you know the thief they are calling here.
Let me say what I know so that you can correct me. Okay, so let me see if I get the right information from the guys that I'm.
Sure.
He said because he published things and maybe he takes the works of people and then he puts his names on it and then he presented as if it is his own work.
Good. So imagine in the field of hadith and especially the field of hadith. I'm saying especially, I know I explain. There's some strictness there that narration is not just being taken from anyone. However, if it comes to the Quran, because it's mutawatir, it's mass transmission coming from so many people, you can't. The moment you are reciting Quran and you make mistake, a kid will catch you. But hadiths are so many that not everybody knows, so you can easily twist something and make it hadith. But for Quran, it's mass transmission. We call it mutawatir. So you can't play with it. So you see why his Quran was accepted, because it's not necessarily him. He made it popular anyway, so he made it popular, and that's why they attribute it to him. Now you are correct when you said that, when you were giving the reason why he was called a thief. Thief, he was called not because he stole someone something, but because he plagiarized. And I believe you know this term.
I know this term.
Plagiarism.
Yes.
Plagiarism, meaning using of someone's intellectual work without acknowledging the person, not necessarily you putting your name on it too. You used the person's, you quoted something that then you didn't show it as a quote from somewhere. You didn't give reference. In the university, when you do such work, you do such research and you present it, and they investigate it, they will cancel everything. You understand? So they call it Sariqa in Islamic academia. That is stealing. Secondly, there was in a case where he borrowed someone's book, and he couldn't return it. And God knows best why he couldn't return it. It could be sickness, it could be he forgotten. But just for that factor, they said, no, hadith is very, complicated. For Quran, we know it's not necessarily you. It's mass transmission. So that is fine. For example, common sense. Who doesn't have common sense in the world? Apart from lunatics or mentally insane people. Everyone has common sense. But see, Avram Ben Moshe comes out, it says he's teaching common sense. Wallahi, there was a day my sister-in-law asked me that this guy, so what is he doing on social? I said he's teaching. He said, what subject? What course? I said he's teaching common sense. She was shocked. She was like, who learns common sense? Who teaches common sense? Like, who is in the right sense I'm teaching, and who goes to learn common sense? You understand? But so if we mention common sense today, you see, people attribute it to Abraham Ben Moshe, right?
Yeah, most of the time, yes.
You see, but is he the one who actually made common sense known? It's something that belongs to everyone. Even people even utilize theirs better than him.
Yeah. But even the term
but
common sense,
making mouth on that, he is actually using the word. It then attributed to him in this part of our world, especially on social media.
Exactly. But the term common sense is from the Bible anyway. But Siddik, let me ask you this question, okay? Because the Muslim, as you just said, the Quran is something
But I hope you've understood the issue of house.
I already knew it. But I like the point that you are just making here about if Baba Shuaib is dependent on the Hafs Quran, since he's a human being, how would he even know if he also didn't make mistakes?
No, not even him alone. Yes, I've asked that question, but from him, did Shuaib got the Quran straight from him? No, right?
No, yes.
It went through other men, other generations before even his grandfather and forefathers, right?
Yes.
It went through men. How did you know that those men have not tempered with it?
Exactly. Well, that is a good question. As I'm saying, if Baba Shuaib, maybe he will listen to this conversation and then maybe he will have an answer to this, because I cannot answer for him.
No. You see, for him, the problem is, you see, I always make example with this. It's like someone who pretends to be a medical doctor and then open a clinic, and people come there and then he does surgery on them, and then they die or there's a problem. And then when they come to arrest him, he said, oh, no, I'll change. Or, okay, or he will try to defend it. And they ask him his credentials, no credentials. What's your background in biology, in this, in physioanatomy, and what's your background in this and that? And he doesn't have any background. But then he says, don't worry, I got this. And then he'll try to defend. You see, the person that came here, it's because he took some medicine, and then he tried to... The thing is, you are not a medical doctor. It's as simple as that. Okay. So he's bent on using social media. At first, he thought what he was thinking was right. For example, using هذا بيان للناس. He was thinking all this while that هذا بيان للناس is talking about the Quran. Until the debate, when he had the shock that you talk about context, go back to the verse before هذا بيان. The verse is talking about traveling to the lands. And by traveling alone, in itself, is an evidence for you, and it's an admonition for you. That's what Allah is talking about. So we see, he was saying so many things, thinking that, okay, these things are accurate. Reading English and thinking that reading online stuff and thinking that these things are accurate. Now you are coming out. You clearly you know that it's not accurate. Now what he will do then is now go and take a portion where he will have something to say there and still stay relevant on social media. Wallahi, when he was talking to me, he said some things about me. When I was trying to correct him on the verse, when he was attributing to the Prophet ﷺ, he's not holy, and I came out and made a video, and it was a harsh one. As you can speak to me, you can realize that this is not how, in the way I speak, when I'm speaking to him, that's not the same way I communicate to people, right?
Okay.
So I communicated in his language for him, because he is from Kowu in Nima here. I'm from Ala Hamza. We are all from Nima. So you are not anyone better than when it comes to, how do you call it, firmness. And for mine, even tension is added to it. You understand? So you can't do that thing more than me. When I was correcting him, he came back, swerved all the things that I'm correcting him, and was rather making mockery of things that, how do you call it? It's not supposed to be so. And I realized that when I was talking to him on phone, wallahi, this is what he told me. He said, this is social media shit. Then I was shocked. Wallahi, I wouldn't have had the debate with him if not for the masses out there, innocent masses who are taking him serious.
What do you mean? What did he say? He said that to you, or he said that to himself?
This is social media. He said what I said to him. I said, do you know what you said is a lie? You said this about me. Do you know it's a lie? You were saying gay, and you said that I've never had a debate.
And then he called
with anyone.
Did he call you social media sheikh, or he called himself social media sheikh?
No, he said shade, like DE at the end.
What does that mean?
Like he said, like social media trolls, like shading.
Shit.
Like because I was correcting him in a harsh way, so he also have to see things with the things he was saying about me. They are lies, and he was calling it social media shading.
Okay, like, okay, throwing shades, yeah.
You understand? Like and I was shocked. So I was like, is it like showbiz? I told him, do you think this is showbiz or something? This entertainment? if you have been through education, if you have been through academia, you will know that this is academic and this is your religion, for God's sake. This is the deen.
Siddik,
you're taking it to be like entertainment.
Siddik, okay, let me just move on and let me ask you this question, okay? Because as you just said, perhaps the Quran is something which is memorized by a lot of people, which cannot you cannot like try to tamper with it, right? But do you think, like the Muslims keep on saying this, when every book from this universe disappears, the Quran will come like in 5 minutes? Do you agree to that statement? Let's say that every book disappears, but the Quran will come in 5 minutes. If the Quran comes in 5 minutes, would the Quran...
5 minutes, I wouldn't agree with 5 minutes because it takes a lot of time to even read Surah Al-Baqarah.
Yeah, okay, but let's say...
5 minutes is just a saying.
It's just a saying. It's I don't know how... Hypothetically, okay? Let's say they're just exaggerating.
It will be shared among a lot of people, and this one will be reciting this verse, this one will be reciting this. So in 5 minutes, maybe they can gather that, maybe.
But what they are trying to say is the Quran...
By one person, I don't think then 5 minutes will just be something. It will just be a saying.
But it's just a saying. But they are saying the Quran will come back again, okay? Let's say the Quran will come back again. It doesn't matter. Every book is gone, and the Quran is here again. Now you have only the Quran, because this is, as you say, the hadiths are too many. Now, if you have the Quran alone, can you be the same Muslim as today?
No. The Quran alone. What will make me a Muslim? So first of all, you ask yourself. So, what is the definition of a Muslim in the Quran?
Let me say, but according to Sheikh UTI Dawa, okay, which you are also associated with, he made a debate.
No, because it's a Muslim. It's a Muslim, so we are brothers. So not associated. We are brothers. So
okay.
I want it to be put that way.
Okay.
Just like you're also my brother. You're also my brother in humanity.
Okay, let's say it like this. But they're saying being a Muslim is submitting your will to only one God. That is being a Muslim.
Submitting your will. So that's the first thing. That's the first thing. That's like the main pillar.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the main pillar. But that doesn't necessarily. I always use the word necessarily. La yalzimu. That doesn't necessarily make someone a Muslim, because someone will understand it differently when you say you submit your will to one. Maybe he was trying to build a point and he was just mentioning the main thing.
Okay.
I've not listened to that, but
right now. Okay, let me say. Maybe I am. I'm not quoting everything that he said. Okay, because I don't want to misrepresent him, but he said something to the fact that submitting your will to only one God and acknowledging only one God and worshiping only one God makes you a Muslim, which I totally disagree with him. Okay, because me as a Christian, I also believe in only one God. It doesn't matter what you think, but that is what we believe in. We Christians, we believe in one God. The Jews, they believe in one God. Okay, there are some Abosomsum people.
Okay, I think I get your point. I'm sorry I cut you, but if I get your point, let's take this analogy into that. That's why I started by saying that I've not listened to him. But if he just said that and left it there, like if you submit your will to only one God or you worship only one God, that makes you a Muslim. I'm saying that I'm adding to it that it makes you. That is the first step or the main pillar of becoming a Muslim. But that is not everything. So it's like fufu. Oh, you can say that I'm going to eat fufu, but you yourself, you know that it's not just fufu that you're going to eat, right? I like fufu anyways. So you know you are not good. You have fish, meat, soup, and all that. So you just mentioning fufu doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to literally eat that alone. So I think maybe due to time, maybe it will be in the form of argument or his presentation, and then
it was a debate.
He mentioned that because the first thing Allah asks us to know in the Quran is فَعْلَمْ أَنَّهُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. That is the first thing. That's the pillar. That learn, study, and know what La ilaha illallah. None has the right to be worshipped, or none is worshipped in truth except the Creator of the heavens and the earth.
Okay. Yeah. So back to the question. Okay. So now let's say we have the Quran alone. Hypothetically, every book is gone. We have the Quran alone. Will Muslim be in the same Muslim? Would they be practicing the same Islam that is there today, without any other book apart from the Quran?
So the thing is, how would the person then call himself a Muslim? What is the definition of a Muslim?
It's your turn. Let me know why. Why is it that the book of Allah alone cannot make somebody a Muslim, but unless we need the hadiths that...
Because it's as simple. Even فَعَلَمَ أَنَّهُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا, know that there's no God but Allah, doesn't say that makes you a Muslim, right?
Okay.
Just like I make an analogy with fufu. If I say go and eat fufu, doesn't necessarily mean you should go and chew fufu. Right? So that doesn't necessarily make you a Muslim. Because a Muslim is from the word silm, meaning to submit. So Muslim means someone who is submitting. Okay, so if you are submitted to your boss or submitted to your wife, so you're a Muslim.
No, that...
You understand? Because Allah said, Inna dina inda Allah al-Islam. The only religion with Allah is Islam, is submission. Okay, so if I submit to my country, I'm practicing the religion of God. I submit to my boss, I submit to my wife submits to me. Okay, so we are Muslim. See, it doesn't make sense to a sane mind, right? So it was the hadith that the Prophet ﷺ, now Islam is being mentioned in the Quran. So Jibril, alayhi salatu wasalam, may peace be upon him, Jibril, that's our tradition, that how we are narrating. I'm not saying you should take it like that, but it's our tradition. Jibril came to the Prophet, peace be upon him, and he asked him about Islam. He said, "Akhbirini anil Islam." Tell me what Islam is. Tell me what makes Islam. So it was the Prophet that explained that Al-Islam an tashhad an la ilaha illallah wa anna Muhammad Rasulullah wa tuqima salat wa tubtiya zakat wa tasuma Ramadan wa tahujja al-bayt in istata'ta. You understand? Told the Prophet ﷺ that Islam is testifying that none has the right to be worshipped except the creator of the heavens and the earth, and Muhammad is his messenger. Is his messenger. That is number one. Number two, to establish the prayers. Number three, and give charity, give the zakah. Number four, fast in the month of Ramadan. And number five, perform the hajj. Okay. This is what makes Islam. So it was the Prophet that explained what Islam is, as it's mentioned in the Quran. Now, on the day of the debate, I intentionally didn't want to use any, hadith. Necessarily, I intended to do that in the cross-examination, which I did. I brought him a verse. Then I'll be like, okay, so tell me what this is. Like I brought him about the black thread and the white thread. To find me a verse that is interpreting that. And he couldn't find a different verse. Because he said he is interpreting the Quran with the Quran. Which he himself, he knows that if you're going to go raw with that, you end up in your own hole. So if something is, there are things that are mentioned to the Arabs, it is in their own language. Which is like black thread and white thread. But then they know that this is being revealed in a religious context, and this is the teacher that was sent to us. So, teacher, what does this mean? Do you get the point?
Yeah, example, I understand what you are saying right now. But
the white thread was sent.
Siddik, wait, hold on. Before you go about this white thread, you just said the angel Gabriel came to Prophet Muhammad. And Prophet Muhammad asked...
my battery is on 1%, so in case it goes off, we can talk.
Okay, no problem. So you said the angel Gabriel came to Prophet Muhammad, and Prophet Muhammad
we can talk later if I put it on charge, inshallah. So don't worry.
No, okay. I will just then hold on to you. Then put it on charge right now.
We can talk. I'm not close to my hostel right now. I'm in a different hall.
Okay. So when the angel came, the story that you told me about the angel coming to Prophet Muhammad, and the Prophet Muhammad asking him what Islam is it the hadith or is that in the Quran?
That's the hadith.
That is the hadith. So the definition of Islam is not in the Quran. What really Islam is not in the Quran, it's in the hadith.
No, you can't find it like a definition like that in the Quran.
No. Okay.
Now what someone would do is that if you say, okay, salah, they say the Quran says aqimu salah. But the Quran say aqimu salah meaning pray. Okay, pray means you're a Muslim. You understand? The hadith mentioned the pillars that hold something called Islam. For example, your body is what signifies your personality. Your personality is there, who you are is there. Now, but what signifies that it is Mr. Sethoo that's coming? That's your head, your hand, you understand?
Okay.
If you have a building, what is holding the building? Why do you call the building the building? The pillars that is holding that thing called building. The concrete. So if the concrete are not there, you can't call a building a building. It doesn't make sense. I can't say Sethoo where I don't know the characteristics of Sethoo.
Okay. Well, I get the point. So I just want people to understand.
Know what that would be? Do you know what that would be in literature?
What would that be?
Fiction.
Fiction. Okay. Siddik, I want people to understand this statement clearly. Okay, that's why I keep on repeating, because when some of the Muslims keep on bragging or boasting that if every book disappears because Muslims have memorized the Quran, a lot of people, even a 5-year-old child have memorized the Quran. which will mean that is basically it doesn't help anything, because after, even if they have memorized it, it still wouldn't be Islam without the hadith.
Okay, so you can clearly see that it's an argument about the Quran, right? Now, this is not only referring to the Quran. Let me remind you with that. This is not only referring to the Quran. It also refers to the books of hadith. I'm saying that. Can you hear me?
No, but the books of hadith hasn't been memorized through thoroughly.
Maybe you are not informed about that. I can take you to places right now, and not only me, because if I start to narrate it to you, you wouldn't even believe. I will take you to someone, myself and the person will sit down, and then you take any book of hadith, starting from Muwatta, starting from Musnad Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, Bukhari, Muslim, Tirmidhi, Nasai, and we'll take it one after the other, and we start narrating it, we'll start reciting it one after the other. Now, 3 people like that will be reading, and that's where you can confirm that, okay, they are reading the same thing.
But you know that in this conversation, that is the reason why you said they rejected from Hafs hadith. That is what you said in this conversation, because there are too many hadith, and since his credibility was in question, but the Quran has been recited or been memorized by a lot of people, they could confirm the Quran. But with the hadith, because
no, they didn't say they cannot confirm. Now, when you say you do things that doesn't qualify you to be a teacher of the hadith, then they will discredit you. Do you know why? Because you can go somewhere where there are lay people, laymen. Even in Ghana here, it will be difficult for you to find people who have memorized Bukhari and Muslim alone. Right? But if that's what I say, I'll take you to somewhere, a place like, let's say, Sudan or Mauritania. This is Africa. I'll not take you beyond the shores of Africa. And we will have people who will sit down and they will narrate the hadith for you. But then it's not common, so that's the thing. It's not common among majority of the Muslims in various parts, whereby for the Quran, even children is known to them. You get the point?
I understand.
So when we say the hadith can be, the Quran can be brought back to life, it's the same thing that the hadith can be brought back to life. But maybe that one we will not put children into that. You understand? That one we take men. We call it rijal, and therefore we have a knowledge called ilm al-rijal, the knowledge of men.
No, okay. Let's see. Let me leave it like this for the meantime, okay? But Siddik, sure. Before your phone gets away, what is the meaning of mahram according to your understanding? What is that?
Mahram is someone you cannot marry.
You cannot marry, right?
Someone you cannot marry. So, for example, if your mother, for example, she's a mahram to you, you are a mahram to her.
Exactly. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So because the other day you I think maybe you miswrote, or you didn't read it back, because you were saying like mahram was somebody you can marry. I was a little bit.
Okay. So pay attention to that again. Although he was trying to interrupt, where he himself because he doesn't know, he was thinking something else. He was saying something and he was thinking something else, whereby something clearly is written there. That you harimna or you haramna, clearly mahram is written there. And I was trying to tell him that he was asking me, so who is am I? He's thinking mahram can only be a grown-up person, like a grown-up 12 person. You understand?
Okay.
So I was telling him, he was even asking me, so kids can be mahram, like, and then yes, daughter, my mahram.
I'm listening. I'm listening. Okay. Siddik already said that his line he has only like 1%. So maybe he has he's still on the line though. He's still on the line. So let's see, maybe he will come back very soon, okay? It's very interesting, okay? I wanted to ask him some questions, but as I already said in this conversation, I didn't call him to debate him, okay? I just wanted to ask him some questions. I gave him a lot of time to speak so that he will make his point. A lot of people may hear him, okay, from the other side. So I guess you all heard what he said. Right now, the conversation has ended, okay? The conversation has ended because the phone has dropped. I think he already told us that he has 1%, and so maybe the battery, okay? Akku is in German, okay? That's what I said. The battery is gone, okay? But I will try and call him back next time, and then maybe we'll continue from here, okay? we'll continue from asking the questions about the debate itself. I wanted to have a little bit clarifications about certain things, but as you all can see, I didn't want to interrupt him and then come as if I'm here to debate him. I wanted to ask him some questions, but he gave his answers according to him. Judge for yourself, okay? I gave Quran chapter 14, verse number 4, which to me says, and we did not send any messenger, including Prophet Muhammad, because he's the one delivering this message. And we did not send any messenger except in the language of his people. So the message will come in the language of the people. His people, okay? So his people, which means, to me, I am just putting this in because when he was on the line, I didn't want to interrupt him and come as if I am like trying to debate him. I just wanted him to speak. Now I am speaking a little bit because I think everyone who listens to this conversation will know he spoke a lot, okay? So the language of his people. So the messenger has a language and then his people speaks the same language. This is my understanding, okay? This is my understanding. So Allah, the Almighty God, is saying the messenger will come to his people with the language of his people. And as I said before, according to Quran chapter 30, verse number 20 something, 21 or 22. Let me put it on. Let me see. Quran chapter 30, verse number 22, 21. And of his signs that he created for you, yourself, mates, and find. No, this is not it. Let me see. Quran chapter 22, verse number 22. It says, and of his signs is the creation of the heavens and the earth, and the diversity of your languages and your colors. You get a point here? So this is a sign from God, from Allah, according to the Quran, our languages. So the languages are there. And the messenger has his language. And his people have the same language as the messenger. That's what I am trying to let people understand here. So when Allah says he will send the messenger in the language of his people, and we all know Prophet Muhammad has a language called Arabic, and his people speak Arabic too. His people speaks Arabic, right? I am from Ghana. So if this statement is supposed to be true, that is what I was trying to indicate, then I have to get the message too. The message has to come to me from a messenger who speaks my language, like Allah is saying his people. Because the language shows where you come from. The language is a unique thing. It gives you an identity. So that's what I was trying to say. But he was saying this means a religious language or something like that, to the effect that he said. That if you become a Muslim and then you have to go and learn Arabic, okay, that will be the language of somebody else's language. That is my understanding. So with this particular statement here, then me as a Ghanaian, as somebody who doesn't even speak Ga, if the language of God, if the message of God is coming to me, it has to come in my language, so that the one who is presenting it to me will make things clear. You get a point? So that the messenger who is bringing the message to me, let's say, will make it clear. So I don't have to depend on somebody's language anymore, because Allah has given me the sign of a language too, according to Quran chapter 30, verse number 22. As we can see, Allah has given me a language too. That is a sign from Allah, and Allah didn't make one language greater than the other. That would be impartial. That would be unfair if that was the case here. You see the point here? That is my understanding. The brother is not on the line right now. That's why I have the time to speak a little bit, okay? Because I didn't call him to debate him. I just wanted to hear his voice, his part of the conversation. So that's my understanding, okay? Allah has given me a language, and it's from Allah. Allah gave all the other diversity of languages. And then he said, I will get the message in my language so that it will be clear to me. Let's read it one more time. And we did not send any messenger except in the language of his people to state clearly for them. You hear what? Why is it that to state clearly for them? Because it is the language of his own people. That is what I was saying. So now people want us to go to the Arabic, and then when you go to the language of somebody else, now they have power over you. They dominate over you. They can decide what is true and what is not true. How you understood it or why you didn't understand it. You get a point here, okay? So this is a very interesting verse here, and this verse includes Prophet Muhammad too. It wasn't speaking about the previous Prophet Muhammad is one bringing this one. That's why the Quran is in Arabic, so the Prophet Muhammad will make it clear to his people. You get a point? He will make it clear to his people. His people are those who speak the Arabic language. So there is a verse in the Quran which says he should spread. It is in the mother of cities. The Quran came in Arabic for the mother of cities and the cities around it. Okay, the cities around it. So they speak the same language. That's what the Quran says. There is a verse in the Quran like that. The mother of cities. So that let me try and find this verse. Let people see. Let me find this verse and let me see. Quran chapter 42 verse number 7. Okay, let me put it on the screen so that people may get to see what I mean. Quran 42 7. Okay, and thus we have revealed to you an Arabic, okay, Quran. An Arabic Quran, that you may warn the mother of cities, which is Mecca. Okay, you can see clearly. They're putting it into bracket. I don't want to read the brackets here because it's not included in the Arabic text. But the mother of city represents Mecca. So we gave you the Arabic Quran in a specific language so that you will warn the people of Mecca. And those around it, around Mecca. Okay? Since it's because they probably speak the same language. And warn of the day of assembly. So this particular verse, it is directed to the people of Arabs, the Meccans. Just like what the Bible, you see, when the Muslims tell us, Jesus said he came to the children of Israel. He came to the children of Israel. Nobody denies that. That is what he did. But at the end, after he has resurrected, he said, go and make disciples of all nations. That's what Jesus said, go and make disciples of all nations. This is like similar thing here. The Muslims believe that the Quran is for all mankind, but it was first for the city of Mecca. It was in an Arabic. That's what I'm trying to let people understand here. Okay, you get a point here. Okay, so according to this verse, as you all can see, a Nigerian is supposed to get the message in his language. Doesn't matter how many languages the country has. If this statement is supposed to be true, then the message has to come. But as he said, no, it is you have to go and learn the language. Even though Allah gave you your own language, you still have to go and learn the language of another man. Okay, and then I also showed him this particular verse here. We were not able to talk about this, but let me read it too so that maybe people may understand what I'm trying to say here. And this verse says, according to this hadith, okay, it reads, let me see, narrated Ibn Abbas, okay, when the time of the death of the prophet approached, while there were some men in the house, and among them was Umar ibn Khattab, the prophet said, come near, let me write for you a writing, after which you will never go astray. So when I was speaking with brother Siddik here, he said the prophet writing something for you can also, like, let's say the president says, the president wrote a letter to the minister. It doesn't mean the president literally sat down and wrote it himself, okay? I agree with him on that particular issue. I agree with him. The president can order people to write in his name, but we will still say the president wrote the letter to the person. But according to this statement here, okay, when the prophet said, let me write something for you, after which you will never go astray, which means it has something to do with guidance. Because to go astray, it means it has something to do with guidance. Okay? Umar said that the prophet is seriously ill, and you have the Quran, so Allah's book is sufficient. So in this particular statement, whatever Prophet Muhammad intended to write, Umar blocked it. He said, no, we have the Quran, because the prophet right now at the state in which he is, is seriously ill, and maybe he will not maybe guide us in the. This is my own understanding. Okay, so bear with me. In the state which Prophet Muhammad was, he was seriously ill according to this hadith. So Ummah didn't allow Prophet Muhammad to give them guidance anymore. That is my understanding. He said Prophet Muhammad wanted to guide them so that they will never go astray. And Ummah is saying here, no, because Prophet is ill, seriously ill, we don't need that, and we have the Quran. So Allah's book is sufficient. So Prophet Ummah depended on only the book of Allah. Okay? And if it was not Prophet Muhammad himself going to write, that would not be the case here. So he would just let them write. Him, because it's not he himself going to write. Because he cannot read and write, he is going to order them to write. So the president can be sick, and then he'll still order people to write a message for him. Write this and this to the vice president. Write this and this to the minister of this. Write this and this, because he is not writing himself anyway. So if that was the case here, if he himself is not going to write, but he's just going to command, then the writing should have been done, because he's not writing himself anyway. He's just giving you the guidance and the wahi. If the wahi comes, if the guidance comes from Allah, in any state of form, because Allah knows Prophet Muhammad is sick, and he is still sending a revelation so that you will not go astray. And Prophet Muhammad doesn't speak on his own, as Siddik said. Okay? Prophet Muhammad doesn't speak on his own. So when the wahi comes, and Prophet Muhammad doesn't tell a lie. The Muslims, that's what they believe. So when he say you will never go astray, let me write it for you, you will never go astray, he is not lying. But Ummah blocked it. Okay, and Prophet Muhammad didn't command somebody to write it down. He himself wanted to write it. Okay, so let's continue. When Ummah said, and you have the Quran, so Allah's book is sufficient, the people in the house differed and disputed. Some of them said, come near, so that Allah's messenger may write for you a writing which you will not go astray. So people were saying, come, let the messenger write. He has to write it so that you will not go astray. Some people were saying, demanding that the prophet writes the thing, not the prophet command the people to write it. Come near so that the prophet may write it for you. But some people also said, while some of them said what Ummah said, while some of them are also backing Ummah up. So they have divided into two. The prophet of Allah, who is ill, and now some of his companions or his followers are not obeying him, are not giving him the due respect, disobeying him, trying to make decisions for him, even though it is about going astray. That is what I'm trying to indicate here, is for you to go astray, it has to be something which is about from Allah. It has to be from Allah, because Prophet Muhammad will not say, he doesn't guide you, it's Allah who is guiding you. Okay? And Ummah is blocking that, and so they have been two parts, one at the side of Ummah, and other people want to obey Prophet Muhammad. But I think Ummah overcame them. Ummah was stronger than them. So they were not able to write. Let's continue. Okay. While some of them said what Ummah said, when they made much noise and differed greatly before the prophet, he said to them, go away and leave me. So they have become two parties. One of them backing Ummah, another party backing Prophet Muhammad. Making noise, differed, and then making noise. So Prophet Muhammad then decided to send them away. He didn't command somebody to write it for him. He wanted to write it. Now they don't want to give him the writing material to write it. You get a point here? So this is an indication that Prophet Muhammad was able to write. That's what I am saying, according to this hadith. Because if it was only he ordering people to write for him, that would be a different situation, because he would just say, write it down, and they would write it down. But look at what Ibn Abbas said. According to this statement, Ibn Abbas is saying, Ibn Abbas used to say, it was a great disaster that the difference and the noise prevented Allah's messenger from writing that writing for them. So Prophet Muhammad did not write the writing because of it was a disaster, because of their differences and their noises. It prevented him from writing. So the writing was to be done by him himself, by Prophet Muhammad himself, not by commanding, because he could have commanded, he could have just said it, recited it, and then they will write it down. But he wanted to write it down. Okay, so this in this particular hadith, that was why I asked Brother Siddik, was Baba Shuaib thinking the same? Because Baba Shuaib is now saying Allah's book is sufficient. But as you all heard Baba Siddik, the book of Allah right now, if all books in this universe disappears and the Quran pops up again, Quran comes back again, it still will not be the same Islam there, because there is more about the Quran alone cannot make you a Muslim. He make an analogy with fufu. Okay, you need the cassava, you need the plantain, you need to pound them together, and then you need the soup, you need this salt, you need whatever, meat, fish, what, okra or the okra. You need them, then you can get a whole complete fufu. So you need the Quran, yes, but the hadith is also very, very important, according to Siddik. Okay, so according to this statement here, at that time the book of Allah was enough for them. That is why they didn't want to let Prophet Muhammad write anything for them, even though they will go astray. So since Prophet Muhammad was not able to write that particular thing down, which will not never let them go astray. And now, are the Muslims astray or not? That is what you have to ask yourself. This is Sahih Abu Hari. Ask yourself this question, okay? I think I will leave the conversation here too, because I've also now been able to speak a little bit. Okay, I've been able to speak a little bit now. Siddik, if you watch this conversation, thank you a lot for taking your time. Even though we've never spoken before, we've never met before, I called you, I asked for your number, you sent it to me, I called you, and then you took your time with me over 1 hour, and then you spoke with me. Okay, I really appreciate that. But I hope in the near future we can have a conversation, and then we can have more conversations like this, and then I can be asking you questions. Okay, thanks a lot. Okay, I will just leave this conversation here. This was not a debate, it was more of a conversation from the side of a Muslim brother. Okay, so I've made my opinion, my mind too. I've shared my opinion here too. So in case you are watching this, kindly share this video for us. Okay, share this video for us. If you're a Muslim, share it too, because Baba Shuaib and Brother Siddiq's conversation too. Brother Siddik explains some things here too, so maybe you will get more understanding, or people may also get to hear Baba Siddik a little bit. Okay, so share this video for us, invite people. And right now, as I said at the beginning, I am going to end the conversation. I have spoken 1 hour and 32 minutes, 1 hour 32 minutes and counting. Okay, so that is how long I have spoken right now, the whole conversation, 1 hour 32 minutes and counting. So I'm just gonna end the conversation here. Sethoo SSK is my name. Follow the page Sethoo SSK, and let me see, because the brother Siddik to also have a page. Okay, Siddik Salis, I think it's his page name. If you want to follow him, you can also follow him. Siddik Salis is his Siddik Salis is his name. Okay, so if you want to follow him, you can follow him too on Facebook. At least that's where I know him, Siddik Salis. Okay, and I think he has another page which is called Maruf Life. So this is the two pages I know from the brother. He didn't get a time to show his pages. That's why I'm saying it on the screen, or in this audio, so that people may know where to find him too, in case you want to find him. Okay, Siddik Salis is a Facebook name, and then he has another page, Maruf Life. That is also another page book. He is there too. And my page is Sethoo SSK on YouTube. Okay, Sethoo SSK on YouTube. You can follow me there. On Facebook too, you can find me there on Sethoo SSK TV. On Facebook, Sethoo SSK TV. You can find me there too. Okay, so I'll just end the conversation here. Thanks a lot for joining us, or for taking your time and listening to us. Mama bye.